Welcome back. It's fall of 2023. Thank you for coming to meet with us on this first cooking show of the semester. And like I just had said a second ago, we really appreciate the support from all of you. And I know some of you are alumni or students or community, but we can't be here without your support. But first and foremost, behind all of us is Anya Viatorek. She's our dean, interim dean of CTAHR. And without her support, we couldn't be here tonight. So thank you, Anya, as well as all of the crew that works behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There's students that put together ingredients before this. There are students that come together on the night of and they create with us. So we really, I just want to thank everybody and appreciate everybody that's here. So you'll say, wave hi, everybody. So let's get started. Tonight, we're going to cook up a portobello poor boy. We're going to do the potato salad after that. And if hopefully you cooked your potatoes ahead of time, because that will make it just a little quicker. If not, get a pot of boiling water going and get your potatoes cooked. And then the last thing we'll do is the lemon pound cake. Okay, so you should have we can come this way, Kelly. So you should have your portobello mushroom. Now, mushrooms. One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to soak them. You don't want to get them too wet. So you could take a paper towel and kind of brush across it or just dust off anything. The other thing is there's a lot of gills in here, so you can scrape those out with a spoon. So I'll do that, but I also want to just kind of dust it off, make sure there's no dirt on there. Right, and then we'll kind of take out the gills. I'll try and do it so you can. So it takes an easy scrape. It's not required. You can leave them on, but it does tend to make them a little bit nicer in appearance and you don't have to worry about that. But there's no, you're not losing that much nutritionally, so you can still gain the benefit from the mushroom itself. And then we're going to slice this. So if it does have a center, you can probably pull that out. Okay. So we're going to cut this into some slices, some long slices, so that we can broil it. So make some nice, again, think about your width on what's easy to bite through, or also be consistent with your sizes so they cook evenly. And then we'll brush that with some olive oil. All right, so what you can do is line out your pan, because you're going to actually broil the mushrooms and the tomatoes. So we're going to lay out our mushroom. I'm just going to lay it across. And then we're going to slice up our tomato. So wash your tomato. You can, at the same time, you can wash your basil. Is anybody cooking with us tonight so I can make sure I keep you all together? Maybe? Okay. So tomato, we're going to slice this. So again, think about how you want to bite into it or how it's going to be easy to like get through once you've cooked it. So I try and do a decent slice, but not anything too thin. And wow, I actually sharpened this knife earlier this week, and what a difference. You know, you shouldn't have to saw through a tomato, but this one is just, it's coming through really nicely. And really, you could use these style tomatoes. You could use Romas. Technically, you could probably try any of the tomato variety. And then I don't want to throw away too much of my tomato, so I'm going to cut through my top. And I definitely have a large knife, so I'm just going to saw out that top. And then I'm going to hold it and do one more slice across here. Okay. You don't have to peel your tomatoes or anything. And then we'll lay that into the pan with our mushrooms, because we want to broil that together. Your oven temperature, you want to set it to broil. Okay. And we're going to pour across. So you should have some oil that is the PO. And the half half of this. So this is going to split up. You're going to split this up between the vegetables, and then we're going to also do it on the bread. So don't pour it all on your mushroom. All right, so you can do a brush, and we'll go across our mushrooms. Oops.
If you don't have a brush, that's a good way to get it on.
If you don't have a brush, grab a teaspoon and just kind of drizzle it across. Again, it's not a critical thing that you get it fully on there. You could try just kind of rubbing it on the top. Try not to use too much. Remember, your mushrooms are really porous, so they're going to suck up some of the oil pretty quickly, but don't feel like it's missing. Once they cook, they start to get soft, and then you'll have that residual oil on there too. So some interesting facts. So, for those of you that have been on before, I usually try and pull in some fun facts. So poor boys, literally the name came from because they were back in 1929, they actually had sandwich, like they wanted to make a cheap sandwich because there was a lot of people in the they have a striker. So there was a strike back in the day, and it was in 1929. It was a streetcar strike. So 1,800 drivers and motormen were manning the picket lines. And so there was a guy that was saying, how can we feed these people for free? So Martin Brothers Restaurant vowed that they would serve their workers for free. They asked the local baker, John Gandusa, to invent a hearty, inexpensive sandwich. And that's why we have the name Poor Boy. And now it's called Po' Boy. You'll hear that too. So people would get a strike, or the people that were on strike, they would call out, here comes another poor boy, as the striker approached. And that's how the New Orleans classic became known as what we hear today. So lots of different versions, but that's one that I had found online. So we're going to broil this. So set your oven to broil, which usually is high, whether you're doing it in the toaster oven or in the oven itself. So put them in that. Oh, we need to season with pepper. So did they have a little container of pepper to go? So you're going to actually hopefully have some pepper at home. You could do a little salt if you wanted to, but pepper for sure. And I'll just grind on top. And I think that if you've heard me before, if you can ever find telecherry pepper, that is the high level of highest grade of pepper, of black pepper. And if you ever find that, pick some up, because it really has the most incredible flavor that you would find with fresh ground pepper. So it's called telecherry pepper. So 5 minutes in the oven with broil. Remember, your broiler is on top, so you're putting your dish right below that to broil. The next thing is we'll combine the olive oil with the garlic. We'll mix these two so you have pre-minced garlic. Tonight was your lucky night. If you got a kit, you didn't have to mince the garlic. And we'll mix that up with the olive oil. Okay. And you have a roll. And this one we can get it ready, but we're actually going to broil the bread after our mushrooms come out. So kind of a hoagie roll. You might have to cut it open just a little bit more. So what makes this different than a typical sandwich? Well, usually it's done on like a crusty French bread, and it's not usually a soft bread, but of course you can improvise. And so usually the meat was also fried, but you don't find that on too many sandwiches. I mean, we see fried meats today, but most of the time it was a fried meat. So I'm going to set this, I'll set it on my plate. Then we'll we're going to mix the garlic, your oil, and then we'll put basil in here. So I will get rid of my mushroom gills. Again, not a bad thing if you don't want to cut them out. Okay, wash your basil. You could peel the stems off for the most part. And then we're going to chop that up. So you want to look for if you see anything really, really bad, then you can pull it off. But this looks pretty good. And there's nothing better than fresh basil, right? So I'll teach you a trick if you want to do this that I teach students is if you want to do like kind of a lacy look, you can line your leaves up. And we call this, chiffonade, where we line the leaves up and then we're going to roll it up like, I guess they would call it like a cigar, right? You roll up the leaves. And you can cut across and it'll actually create this nice kind of more lacy rather than just chop, chop, chop. Okay. So you get kind of a lacy look rather than just chopped. So that's chiffonade. And just, again, line your leaves, find your bigger ones. It's probably easier to do it with the bigger ones than the small. And roll them. And then slice across. Again, it's kind of falling apart. All right. I'll just chop the rest of this up. And this basil is all for this sandwich. If you wanted to do it as a final garnish, you could do that as well. So there's the chop chop versus my chiffonade. So it has a little bit of a upscale look to it for a poor boy sandwich, right? We're going to put that on the bread with that olive oil and garlic. So I'm going to grab my towel and we'll spread the garlic. I'm going to kind of drizzle this because my garlic sunk. So brush it across. Spread the garlic out. That really did sink all the way to the bottom. All right. And then I'll add my basil. And I'm just going to pour it across or kind of put it across. And we're going to cook that. I'm going to leave a little bit for a garnish on top. Okay, because that'll, once our mushrooms come out, and I didn't actually set a timer for the mushrooms. So we're probably, I think it's probably been about, I'd say 3 minutes or so. We'll check those in a couple minutes. I forgot to, I watched my time. So I think we got those in about 5 after. So they've been in there 4 minutes. Let's check them. Not quite. So we want to see them a little bit more than, we want to start to see them kind of soften up. Those mushrooms will soften up really nicely, unless it didn't start. Let's try that again. It's almost like my oven has decided to take a day off. Not allowed. All right. Can you eat, of course, portobello mushrooms, you can eat them raw, you can eat them cooked. You know, portobellos have become kind of a meat alternative for a lot of people. They really enjoy that option instead of having like a burger. So you can actually do something like this. You could even grill it on a barbecue and create a nice sandwich rather than slicing it. So lots of ways to deal with portobello mushrooms. While that's cooking, let's get our potato salad. So you should have your potatoes already boiled. We'll bring them over here. I think I can use my surface here. And you should have peppers, lots of different seasonings. So we have lemon juice. Wait, that's lemon juice is for the dressing. Salad oil, sesame seeds, the peppers, and then we must have a salt seasoning that goes with it. So we're going to go with, we should have all those ingredients and a bowl. All right. So once again, when you think about salad and you think about the potatoes, I want you to think of how big you want to bite into your potato. So you have one giant potato. Is that what they all have at home? Two potatoes. So cut them if you want to, if you've already boiled them, great. If not, you want to boil it, you know, as we're cooking, you can do that as well. So they don't necessarily have to be cut up right before you can boil them whole. Might take a little bit longer, but you can boil them until they're about fork tender. And then I'm gonna cut them up a little bit. So we're gonna cut, I'm gonna cut them into kind of more cube style, just so that you don't bite. Because remember, I don't want you to be biting like giant pieces. So cut them up like that. And interesting on sweet potatoes, Okinawan sweet potatoes, what do we commonly confuse the purple sweet potato with? Or what do some people commonly confuse them with? Anybody know? What do we typically think is purple and we automatically think it's a sweet potato? It's dessert, it's ice cream. Maybe that helps. I mean, we turn, yeah, so ube. So ube is really not the same as a Okinawan sweet potato. So we think about the differences between those. And Europeans actually kind of, we brought the sweet potato in from Europeans, and it's called a uala here in Hawaii for sweet potato. So if you ever, there's actually kids books on pigs and uala. So you can do a lot with sweet potatoes. The Okinawan sweet potato obviously has that wonderful color. And you'll hear the term eat a rainbow of colors. So when I say that, what does that mean to everybody? When you say eat a rainbow of colors. Well, here we have purple, right? What other colors of the rainbow do we typically eat? What other colors? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 colors of the rainbow in our salad. What other colors? Yeah, green.
Red.
What else?
Yellow.
Red, yellow.
Orange.
Red, yellow, orange. What color do we not see too often? Or not so much natural. Even the name tells us something, but it's actually not, they truly aren't this color. Internally.
Violet.
Violet. Or
Violet, we could probably get close to violet. Blue, right? So blueberries, if you've ever cut a blueberry, they're not really blue inside, they're just the blue exterior. So we don't have a lot of blue foods. So if you ever come across blue food, it's more than likely an added color. Except, does anybody know what we do grow that's blue and it's available to us on the markets? Does anybody know what that is? We have flowers, definitely. What else do we have that's blue? It's marketed to us. Yeah, we have those. But what is, there's something else that you eat that's blue, and it's natural because it has anthocyanin, which is the natural blue pigment. What's that one food that's blue? Aside from flowers, it's an edible option food or consumable. How about I say it that way? Consumable.
Is it not blueberries?
not blueberries.
Nope.
Cabbage.
Cabbage is more that purple, and depending on if you use an acid or an alkaline to cook it, it changes the colors a little bit. This one is, I'll give you some hints. Mexican food?
Ooh, Mexican. Oh,
Olives.
Did that give anybody a hint?
I know.
It's blue and it's natural.
Corn?
Blue corn.
Corn.
So blue corn chips are 100%, that's 100% natural color. They didn't inject them. They didn't add coloring at the bottom of the roots to suck them up. That's blue corn. So blue corn has anthocyanin pigment that's natural, and that's how we get blue corn chips. But that's really one of the only blues that we have. So leave that aside and think about all the other colors of the rainbow that we can pick from. So we have plenty to choose. And I know my oven's on now, so we're gonna look at it real quick. Does it spend a little bit of time? Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna go just a little bit longer. I need to think about a way to pull that forward so you can kind of see it. See how we're getting like the juices and everything's starting to kind of soften up. So we want to keep that rolling. I'm going to go probably another 2 minutes. I'll watch for that. And then we'll do the bread. So here's some of your rainbow of colors. Your peppers. I would wash these because I had a sticker on mine, and I will peel off the edge of the onion. So I'm going to wash these real quick. You can also, you know, take out your seed pods in the center. You don't have to throw away if you get the mini pepper in the center, you don't have to throw that out. You can use it. But I'll peel out the membrane and get rid of the seeds. How many colors of bell peppers do we have? May have an idea? How many bell pepper colors do we have? Some of my plants group might actually have more than that. So what colors do we know?
Is there 4?
Green, yellow.
Let's see, what do we have? We have red, we have orange, we have
Orange.
yellow, we have green, there's purple. I think that's probably it. I think 5. Now, if you've ever seen a purple bell pepper, please look for them someday. They're like purple exterior like this, but the interior is like lime green. It's amazing. They're beautiful. They're like this really incredible purple purple pepper.
Have you ever had an aloha pepper?
I have had, oh, I forgot about those. Those are the combined. We've had those in our show once and we talked about them, I think. They were originated in Washington, if I'm not mistaken. And you cannot like take the seeds out of those and make them become another aloha pepper, because they've got it so that it will not replicate. You have to actually have the plant to be able to replicate those. So kind of some fun facts on that. Now we're going to do the julienne style. So we want to really get these cuts in small pieces. So what I did is I'll take this half and put it into 4. And that way it makes it a little easier to get to that matchstick cut. Now you can line them up together if you want, or you can just do one at a time. But basically what you want to do is get your knife and get some matchstick cuts. So it's more or less small, thin lines. It's more matchstick. Or if you don't want to go like this thin, you can actually you could chop it if you're not feeling like you want to do it that thin. So this is your consistency. And again, think of what you're biting into. And if it gets too big, you could cut it down. So I had the pleasure was it 2 weeks ago? We had our CTAHR barbecue. So all my alumni, if you've ever been to one of our CTAHR barbecues, we created this salad about 2 weeks ago. So I actually chopped up, I think 18 peppers 30 peppers and then 18 onions. And let's check our mushrooms. I even want to go just a hair longer. It's just to soften them just a little bit longer. So 1 minute. Thank you for my timers. And so these are fun to cut up. But again, you get the colors, the color of the rainbow. This is called the rainbow of health salad. So you can see why all the colors included. And really, it doesn't matter if you use red, orange, yellow, green, aloha, any of those. Any pepper works. Okay. And then we're going to do the onion same kind of way. Think of it too as if you give more surface area to any of these veggies, you open up the flavor that's going to come out, and then you have a little bit more nice flavors. So we're going to pile that into our pepper and potato. Then we'll do the onion, and I think what I'll do is I think I want to cut Let's go like 3 pieces for the half. Not quite the same as doing it chopped. I can leave that end on just to keep it stable. And then the same thing with, actually, I ended up doing like a chop. If you didn't cut it yet, you might even try like longer lines. But I cut it before, not thinking. So we're gonna do like thin. Again, it's the size that you want to bite into. And here's another purple option. Purpley red. All right. All right, trivial fact. What's the largest? I don't know if this was an Okinawan sweet potato, but anybody want to guess what the largest sweet potato recorded was? So we'll give you a shot to think about how large was the sweet potato. And it was a world record holder. Largest sweet potato. Guesses. Jesse, what do we got? I'm going to pull my. Yeah. There we go. So they've softened, the liquids is still there a little bit, and we're going to transfer that. Probably need to transfer that onto like just, I'll do this. Less dishes. So I'll put my bun here because we're going to put the bun in to do some broiling. And then we'll move these guys off. So all their juice. I'll keep all that because that is kind of nice to put with the sandwich. Okay, transfer your bread. And we're going to broil that for, what do we say, 2 minutes? Okay, so it's still on high, so we're going to put it in. And we're going for 2 minutes. And I'll set these aside. So anybody think about your largest sweet potato ever grown? Take a guess. Largest sweet potato ever grown. Oops. It's bigger than any of the ones that you had in your kit. That will tell you a little bit. So there's our nice color.
75.
Holy moly, did somebody look that up real fast? That's so close, but not quite that big. Close. Well, actually, that's probably like double. So does that help anybody? Double that, less than that. Somebody that's close to double, but it's big. 37 kilograms. So 81 pounds, 9 ounces. 81 pounds, guys, on a sweet potato. You know, you think about those giant pumpkins, right? This is fall. And so we think about those giant pumpkins. How tasty are they? I don't know. Okay, you've got your mixture, and then we're going to put together the dressing. So you should have your lemon juice. You should have your salad oil. You should have seasoning mixture. And then we're going to toast these on the side. So we're going to mix up this in a bowl. So this is your sugar and salt, white pepper. We'll go with that. And interesting, I think you could use even black pepper. You know, white pepper has such a different taste. What's your lemon juice? That you could probably do either. And this is a dark salad, so you really wouldn't even see the difference. Okay, so mix this up. You're creating a temporary emulsion. Your sugar should dissolve some. Is our time on our bread? Oh yeah. Oh, it smells so good. And yeah, we got a little bit of burn going on there, but that's all right. This smells yummy. So we'll leave that for a second while we mix up our dressing. And again, try and get that sugar to dissolve. That will help it to spread. Let's see what else I have on my fun sheets. So what are some health benefits? Because we talked about rainbow. What are some health benefits of our red options? Yeah. See, we're getting a nice mixture. What do we get from our reds? You get some carotenoids, but you're going to get those through your orange colored ones too. So that's good. Health benefits, it's anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. I mean, if you think about it, almost all of our colors are pretty much the same. Now I'm going to pour my dressing across and then we'll mix it up. Some of these are pretty universal for all my colors. They almost all have that anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, but we definitely see differences in colors. Now, what's really cool about your salad is you've mixed lemon juice with purple. And what's really cool about it is it'll turn, because it's an acid, it will turn your purple more of a reddish color. So if you look at your onions, they tend to get a little bit more of I have an extra little piece in there of onion I don't want. You'll actually get that purple onion, it kind of turns reddish. So you can kind of see the pigment changes, and that's due to the acid. I don't know why I'm using such a small spoon, but it works. So you can see the color changes. Okay. And then this gets better with time. So it'll taste wonderful tonight, but it will taste even better tomorrow because all your flavors will start to combine. Okay. So there is your start for your salad. And then we'll add the sesame. I'm going to toast the sesame seeds. So if you find a small pan, or you could put it into a toaster oven, you could really do anything. Just drop them in your pan. I'm going to turn on I'll turn it on high just so we can get it to go quickly, but stirring it the whole time will help you so it doesn't burn. And you're going to get, or you can even kind of, toss them around, but they'll get a little more brown. These have already been a little bit, they're kind of a little pre-toasted, but we'll just see them turn a little bit more brown for that flavor. So it'll just bring in a little bit more flavor. How are we doing on cooking? How's our cooks? Anybody cooking? Doing all right?
Yep, we got some thumbs ups.
Yay. So you can kind of see they're starting to turn a little bit, and they might actually even do a little popping. And that's okay, because they're actually just kind of getting warmed up. You can change your oven from broil to bake. And we're going to bake our bread our lemon loaf. We're going to bake that. So turn your oven temp down, and it's going to be at 350. So just make sure you do that, because right now it's on, when you broil something, you're broiling at more like 500 degrees. So it will broil, it'll cook too quick. So turn it down to 350. Yeah, you kind of see they're turning color. And they'll get a little darker. And like I said, they might pop a little bit, but then that's okay. So sesame seeds, a little bit of interesting piece of sesame seeds. This is a recently identified allergen that you have to have on your food product. It has to be identified as part of the label, because in 2023, they recognize this as the 9th allergen that is most commonly seen in people. So sesame seeds has been added to the list of, you think of allergens, you think of wheat, soy, milk, egg, shrimp, tree nuts, peanuts. Sesame is now on our list. So you'll see it if it's in an ingredient, you'll see it identified on that package so that you don't inadvertently consume it. And if you think of sesame, we do a lot of cooking here in Hawaii with sesame. What is one of our common ingredient, or why do we use sesame oil often? What is one of the things that we use a lot of sesame oil with? Somebody might enjoy this dish. What do we use with sesame oil? I think I'll turn off my toasting. Anybody, what do we use sesame oil with? Some of you. Anybody want to take a
I
guess?
need Food.
Food. Everything sesame. Poke is really
Fried rice.
I'll
fried
be.
rice. Poke, those are really common, like kalbi, all those things, because sesame oil gives that really nice flavor. But remember that somebody with an allergy would have that sesame, would need to avoid it. So you've got toasted seeds. You got a little browner, and we can let them cool a little bit. While those are cooling, I will put together our sandwich. So you now have your broiled tomatoes and peppers, and I'll grab another plate and we'll put our bread down on another plate. And then we can pile up our, it's gonna tip. All right, so you can line it however you wanna kind of layer it out. Or if you wanna put the mushrooms down first, it doesn't matter too much. And then you also have provolone cheese. You can stack this all in. And I use the whole tomato. I don't cut anything off and toss it except for that inner core. Actually, maybe what I can do, I'll let go of this plate, is I'll try and line these up. Some of them are jumping off. Ah, free. Oh my word. Yeah. They get all nice and juicy and they get soft and slippery. And actually the juice from the mushrooms that you have here left is a nice addition if you just want to drizzle it across your bread or even over your mushrooms. And oh, I got to put my cheese on before I close it. So you have 2 slices of provolone. And you can slice these guys in half. Or you could fold them, either way. Let's go width or longwise. And then we'll layer it on the top. Okay, and I think I'm gonna cut my, well, I could take it and not cut it, but I'm gonna layer that on top. And we can cut it in half. Voila. Here is a dressed up version with a little bit of basil and dianthus. So these are dianthus flowers, thanks to Mari's Gardens. Totally edible. Remember, anything that goes on your plate that you see in a restaurant is 100% edible. They have a sweetness to them, so they're really nice on salads. You can pull them apart or you can leave them whole, and they are completely edible. So nice addition to a dish. So that's your po' boy. And here is your salad that's all finished up, ready to go. So look, the color change. You should see that the reds, it turns more, it gets more of that reddish pop, okay? So we're gonna do our seeds on top. Don't wanna forget that. So I'll just drizzle them across the top. There you go. There's your salad. And of course, wouldn't be better if we had our flowers on top. So you have a nice dish, lots of color here. Red, carotenoids, green, chlorophyll, purple, anthocyanin, red onions, anthocyanin, yummy stuff. So have fun with that salad. And we're now ready to make our cake. So we will get a bowl. I'm gonna bring it all up to us here. This one has a whole bunch of different ingredients, so I'm gonna just start moving things over here. That's probably for my glaze, and this is a lemon here. Okay. So you should have, we got a couple of lemons. And we have melted butter. And we need to get our zester, microplaner. Yeah, actually I'll use that one that's got the green handle. So you've got, if you do not have a microplaner, don't worry. You can actually use like a peeler, and the whole purpose of microplaners. So interesting facts here. Microplaners have not been around all that long. Does anybody want to try and guess how long we've had a microplaner around? This is like I think some of you are, let me think about ages here. Yeah, some of you are maybe even younger than the microplaner, but it's not that old. It's in my lifetime. That expands, a little bit wild, a little bit bigger. But what do you think about microplaners? How long do you think they've been around? Forever? I'm not as old as dirt, so they're younger than dirt. But what about age? What do you think? Let's think about how long these have been around.
30 years.
Oh my goodness. 90, you're saying 9 years? 90s. Oh my goodness, you're really close. Yeah, so actually Richard and Jeff Grace from Arkansas. This actually debuted in 1990, right at 1990. These have not been around that long. So if you think about it, what was usually used as a zester? In fact, if I can get somebody to grab one of the graters, I'll be able to show you. So we haven't had them around all that long. I mean, some of you might have a boxed grater, and this one actually is a little bit, even a little different than some. But some of your old-fashioned graters had like a star, kind of a star pattern on them. And that star pattern was designed for zesting. So people would zest like their nutmeg or their spices on it. And that was what people did for grating really fine items. And so even on these box graters, this is a real fine one, but it's not even still fine enough. So it would work, but it would be a little bit bigger pieces of lemon. Obviously these others, this one is more like strips, like almost kind of like a peeled or a planer. But that's where these gentlemen came out with a design for this. And it's actually, they started it out with a computer printing metals that they kind of figured out one day, hey, let's put this together and look what we have. And so zesters have not been around all that long, 1990. And what's nice about them is that they take just that surface area off of your lemons or your oranges, because we mostly zest citrus. That's a big one. I have used it to grate ginger, so it's really fine. What are some other purposes that you might have all done with a zester? I'm trying to think what other ingredients we would zest. Garlic might be an option as well. But most of the time it's your citrus roots. Has anybody else used it on anything else that you can think of? Lemon. Parmesan cheese. Yeah. So again, think about all these different things. And now they have the little white Olive Gardens. I think that was like the initial beginning of Olive Gardens. They stick a chunk of Romano or Pecorino or Parmesan and they grind it and it drops out very nicely onto your hot item. Nutmeg is a big one. So growing up, my parents always had brandy and eggnog at Christmas time, and they would grate their nutmeg before we ever had planers. So with all that little historical information, it's kind of fun to hear the history of things. What you're going to do is I'm going to flip to my recipe. So in a bowl, you've got flour and baking powder, baking soda, salt. That's going to be together. So that should be your LCM. Lemon cake mix. So put that into a bowl. I'm wondering if my bowl is big enough. That looks small. I'm going to go bigger. Go big or go home, right? So bigger bowl. Put my powdered mixture in. So we've got that, and it's already kind of whisked together, but you can actually mix it a little bit more if you want, just to blend it. So that's your flour and your baking powder, baking soda, and salt. All right, so I'm gonna whisk that up, or if you don't have a whisk, you can do it with a fork. Set this aside. That'll be ready. And then in the other bowl, then we're gonna add sugar. So you should see lemon cake sugar. And I'm actually gonna grab a different bowl. We're gonna go sugar and eggs, and we're gonna blend those together. Now, if you don't have a mixer, no problem. We're gonna do it without a mixer here. So I want to do 3 eggs. So you're going to grab, you should have your 3 eggs with you. And again, if you've been with me before, I don't ever crack the eggs over anything except for a separate bowl so that I don't end up with a shell in there. And if you have enough talent, you can crack it and oops, break it with one hand. Or if you want to try. That last one. And I think that looked like a shell. Sorry, I got to fish that out because I don't want it to be, maybe it's not. Nope, it is. Always check your egg. Ah, it's always fun to try and pull them out too, right? There it goes. Okay. Then we're going to mix these up a little bit. So I'll take a fork and I'm going to blend those up just a little bit. And then we're going to add this to our sugar, and we're going to be able to mix it together. Your sugar will eventually start to kind of dissolve. This talks about using a mixer for 2 minutes, but really just get this to mix up well. Our oven is preheated at 350. So we won't have time to finish off when you are cooking with me tonight. You won't finish your lemon loaf, but you'll definitely be able to enjoy it in a little bit because it takes about 50 minutes to cook. So we do have one that we made earlier that will ice with you. So I want to mix up my lemon, or I mean my eggs and sugar, and I'm gonna actually get a whisk. I think it'll be easier. So if you whisk it, it'll combine really nicely. You've got butter. If you didn't melt your butter, you can melt your butter real quick. Put it into a microwave container and then melt your butter. And then it has oil. So we have LCO, lemon cake oil. So we're going to have melted butter and the oil. And you kind of want to look for if your sugar granules have started to dissolve. They're getting there, but they're still a little bit there. And you get a workout tonight with me, right? One of my favorite things to do and have students do is make marshmallows by hand. Or a meringue. You know, whip the egg whites up to meringue status. It's not bad. It takes a little bit of time. But that's looking, I didn't even do 2 minutes, I don't think. But we can mask the 2 minute. And if you have a mixer, you're in good shape. So what's the difference between that zester and grater is that it's the size, right? So the size of your zest, and it really gets that top lemon oil versus getting the white pith. So that's the difference. All right. What do you think? Looks pretty smooth. So now we can add the oil. We're going to add the butter. So it talks about add these. I try and mix them separately as I go. And then I'll do the butter, the whole butter, right? This is the 1/4 cup of butter. Just want to make sure they didn't give me extra. Okay. And then we're going to add vanilla, which you will have in, did I miss it? Yep, nope. So you have a vanilla extract, and then you have some limes, and this is where we're going to get to zest the lime, or I mean the lemon, sorry. So we have one that's already cut that we're going to use for juice. And I do believe we don't have in here lemon extract. So we're going to add a little bit of extra zest and a little bit of extra, we can add a little bit of extra juice. So you've got your, we're going to add the vanilla to this mixture. This is your liquid mixture. We'll add that in. And I actually was hearing the radio the other day. If anybody listens to KSSK, they were talking about what are some of the foods that last forever? Like there was endless time of keeping them. And of course, what cake comes up as like forever? You can never, you don't have to worry about it. It'll last forever. Does anybody know that? It's a little bit of trivia for us. What's the cake that will they say is like never dies? What is that cake? It's one of the famous cakes. Good guess, but no. Which one? Fruitcake's a good example, but that still will go bad. This one is like a manufactured cake that is technically not ever gonna die. It's a Twinkie. But the other thing that they brought up was the vanilla, is because vanilla is in, if it's pure vanilla, it's in an alcohol carrier. So it's when I say alcohol carrier, it's like combined with alcohol, the extract. So you don't want to ever throw away. If you find an old bottle of vanilla in your grandparents' or your family's pantries, don't throw it away. It's still good. It will be fine. It may be darker, but it's totally fine to eat. But if it's imitation, you can smell it and see what it smells like. But vanilla is one of those that just doesn't ever go bad because it's got the alcohol. All right, so we're going to add the vanilla. We're going to do our zesting. So we're going to zest. Are we zesting one? Are we zesting two lemons? So you should have 3 lemons altogether, 2 lemons altogether. You're going to zest your 2. I'm just going to rinse them. Then we'll come back and we're going to zest. So hold your zester and you're going to just kind of pull until you get to that white part, and you don't want to get too much of the white. And I'm just going to actually do all of the 2 lemons, and I'm just going to dump it right into my bowl so I can come right across in case some drops. And this again gets just that extra essential oil right off the top. So as far as if you didn't have, like we don't have lemon extract tonight, so you can add extra zest, extra juice. Some of the things that are now out and available is some of these essential oil companies are now making kitchen safe essential oils. So I know that familiar with the doTERRA brand, they actually have some flavored kitchen oils now that they're putting out, you know, Italian and all these nice flavors, Italian, Mexican, I think Thai. So they're actually designing them for you to be able to cook with. And it really takes very small amounts compared to what we have to get out of zesting a lemon or the juice or the extract. So another alternative and another natural option. If you want to substitute lemon extract for juice, usually it's a 50-to-50 ratio or 1/2 to 1. So you can actually do half juice, half water, taste it, see how it's going, and then you can kind of go from there. But you can actually mimic extract, and that's what we're doing. So we're going to add that, and then we're going to do the next one. The only challenge about zesters is they do not do well if they get your fingers, right? If you've ever had that grated knuckle, you know what I'm talking about. So just be cautious because those little edges are really sharp, and really the time to know when to replace these is if they don't create that nice fluffy, see how I kind of have this fluffy grate? If it starts coming out real mushy and it's just more of a mash, then you need to replace your microplaner and get a new one. That's just telling you that your plane is starting to wear down too much. Lemon extract is nice because it doesn't have the sourness that lemons do, but it's still, you can do both. And I think there's probably nothing better than real lemon juice versus bottled lemon juice, although some of our bottles have gotten a lot better with time. All right, getting close. Should I zest the lemon after I cut it? I did it before I cut it, but what do you think? Should we zest it before or after cutting? Or should you cut the lemon after you zest it? Mix that in. And then I'm going to cut and use how much lemon juice do we need here? 2.5 tablespoons, right? A whole lemon, because a lemon is about 2 tablespoons. Now, remember, lemons have a lot of seeds. So if you squeeze over a strainer, you'd be in better shape. Or if you want to do it on a bowl aside, you can do that too. So is it easier to zest after I've cut it or before? Zest before or after I cut? Before. Cut after I zest, because otherwise it's slippery and you'll be battling with that microplaner. All right. I got to get this together so I can show you the glaze. We were thinking, hey, we're on good timing, but we're actually getting tight. So thank you for sticking with us. If I ever have lemons that are going bad, I will turn around and zest them all and juice them all and put them in the freezer. So you can actually keep them longer. If you're going to run out of usability and you need to get rid of them, then don't throw them away. Zest them and keep them. Okay, so we got our juice in there. We've got our zest in there, and we need to add in the sour cream. And why do we use sour cream instead of milk? Why would I use sour cream over milk? Get that. Any idea why? Why sour cream? Sour cream is a higher fat, but why would I go with more? Choose this over milk. I'm gonna just blend this up. We got to mix it well too. Any thoughts on why sour cream? Sour cream is one of the highest fat dairy products. So it's got that nice fat. So it's going to add some moisture, right? It's going to have a richer outcome. Plus, you think about flour, and flour is gluten. So the gluten strands are longer, shortening. Those gluten strands will make it softer and more tender. And that fat content is what does that. So we now have our mixture, our wet mixture together, and then we're going to do our dry. And this is for my glaze. My LM is lemon must be lemon milk. Lemon milk. So we're going to add our, and I don't want to over mix this, but we're going to get this in a little bit at a time. So half that powdered flour mixture. Mix it till it's almost incorporated. Again, we don't want to overdo because this is our gluten time. Okay, then we'll add some more. I'll blend it in, and you'll have a pan. You have a medium-sized foil pan, and I did not save my butter to do like a drizzle in the pan to make it, to prepare it. So it talks about a prepared pan. You really want to grease your pan so that you don't have it stick. I think I actually have enough left in my melted butter. What I'll do is take a paper towel, and then I'll take that paper towel and I can actually use that and put it into the pan. The bottom is really the ultimate problem if we're going to get any kind of sticking. So get this mix, don't over mix it. Should look about like that. And then we'll do a paper towel, and I'll use that with my melted butter here. And I'll put that in the bottom. Try and get it. If you run out, you could use Pam, or you can use margarine or anything that's going to create that little bit of a grease barrier for you. So just try and get it as good as you can. And then we'll pour that mixture in, and then we're going to bake it. So now I'll do the glaze real quick, because we do have one that is already pre-baked. And this is a rival to the Starbucks lemon pound cake that you all find. So next time you go to Starbucks, you'll say that you made it and it's better. Okay, so I'll get the rest of that out. And I think, again, that fresh lemon is where we have the advantage. Okay, so that's going to go in the oven for 50 minutes. That gets a little bit flippy, so we're going to put that in, and we'll time that for 50 minutes. And we'll do the glaze. So your icing is a cup of powdered sugar. I'm going to get a bowl. And we'll finish it off here. Oh, it's 6:02. Thank you again for sticking with us. We're going to go powdered sugar, and we're going to get lemon juice again. So we're going to do a tablespoon. You could do half your lemon, or you could do even more. So I'm going to squeeze that in. So I will actually go a little bit more. That was probably, it's probably close to a tablespoon, but it's up to you if you want to add more. If you have more lemon, you can. Since I have this one whole, I can leave that. And then we're going to add the milk, and we'll add the milk. This is 1 to 2 tablespoons. So if you don't need the whole thing, you can actually not use it all. So I'll pour in about half, and then we'll mix it and see where we get. This is the glaze that you'll put on top. And if you don't want to ice it, you can totally leave this off. If you want to go a little thinner on the icing or a little thicker, you can leave the milk. Again, up to you. I think I'll add just a hair more. Oops, a little bit more. That way it's pourable. And then once your lemon pound cake is cool and you've pulled it out, you can either pull it out of the pan or leave it in. And I'm just going to drizzle this on the top. So we will take a, oops. Ooh, look how pretty we have. So this is what you should be looking at. And we did determine that you probably want to watch your time on this. It might take a little bit longer than 50 minutes, but you can do a couple things. You can pour it across, or you can drizzle. It's up to you on your creativeness. If you go to Starbucks, it's just a layer of icing, but you can definitely do your own design. Okay. So that will come out of your oven in a little bit, and hopefully you will have fun time letting it cool and then adding the icing. And you've just created 3 items for your dinner tonight. So lemon loaf, poor boy sandwich, and that beautiful Rainbow of Health sweet potato salad. Look for us to come back to you next month in your October, because we're right at, guess what? It's August 31st. We are at September tomorrow. Hard to believe, but we'll see you back in October for 3 more exciting recipes. We're getting towards the fall, so we'll create some fall flavors. Always send your questions if you have any. We are so glad that you stayed. Thank you again for doing that. Take pictures of your final product, send them to us. We'd love to see your outcomes. We'll submit and have all this available to you. It'll be online. You can review it if you need to go back to it. Otherwise, have a fabulous weekend. If you're a UH student, you got 4 days off, so you can't go wrong with that. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Labor Day, and we'll see you in October. Thanks, everybody. Bye.